to the March 9th behavioral model call. What are you guys laughing about? I want to know the joke.
I'm laughing because I don't have my microphone on mute.
Okay. All right. So what I'm doing right now, can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my OneNote screen I'm presenting?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So the last couple of times, we talked about the experimentation that Andy and Chris were doing, and then we talked about, I was gone one of these times, but we talked about checking with Dan Daly in the Slack channel to get some information. And this service tunnel private link, it looks like, sorry, I'm just kind of manipulating the call here while I'm talking. And then it looks like we were going to go over BMV2 for service tunnel private link today, but it looks like it needs to be pushed out for one more week. So that's what's going on there. And the documentation has been reviewed, and they just are doing some work on the behavioral model. So that's the update for that. But I thought maybe we could talk about the experimentation that was happening a couple of weeks ago, where we were trying to do P4 DPDK and see if there were any gaps, if we felt like talking about that, or if someone has PRs they want to talk about. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So were we able to go ahead and check on the P4 DPDK and whether it would run?
Let Andy speak on that if he's here.
Oh, sure. Okay. I'm just trying to
sorry.
find the notes that I took exactly while we were talking here. So, okay.
Sorry, I just turned on my audio and missed
Yeah.
everything up to that question. Thankfully, I heard the question.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a weekend time hobby project time of
Yes.
mine, not a but
Mhm.
I have just for folks that are, this is going to be irrelevant detail, but basically there's a couple of different open source ways of installing DPDK and P4 DPDK that I've investigated. One of them appears not to have P4 Runtime API support built in, so I'm abandoning that approach for now. The one that seems viable is there's an open source project published by Intel called IPDK that includes many things that are not needed for this project, but it does include at least, the P4C DPDK compiler, the DPDK software switch, and with P4 Runtime API support. And that, I think, is the minimum viable set of features we need for this work. So I don't have a series of steps yet, but I've been corresponding with Chris every once in a while on my failed attempts and next plans there, and we'll let you know. We're happy to update you each week
Thanks.
to remind you where we are.
Can you list those things that it has again? I think she didn't copy down. I would like to have a list.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the IPDK collection of software contains the DPDK software switch, the P4 to DPDK compiler, and P4 Runtime API support, which is not a requirement for Dash, but it is a nice to have for the reference model code that Chris has so far with BMV2 to share as much work as possible with the BMV2 reference model. If I understand that correctly, Chris.
Yeah.
It would allow him to reuse most of the code he's been developing already for a DPDK software switch, if we get it working.
Did you say P4 runtime support or P4 runtime API support?
P4 Runtime API is the full name of that protocol.
All right, good. So we captured it.
Hey, Andy, one quick question. In order to be running on P4 DPDK software switch, and then have the P4 to DPDK support, would you not need a TDI also support as well?
As Chris, you can let me know. I believe it will have TDI included, but I believe that Chris's test environment only requires P4 Runtime API support today.
Yeah, and this discussion's come up various times. but even Reshma indicated in a recent call that we might want to just take the P4 runtime approach for the DPDK integration. TDI would just be an internal implementation detail that we don't have to be concerned with. We'll just talk. Really, the main point of contact is a libsci, and the current libsci in the model uses P4 runtime, right? It's an adapter from a C interface to a P4 runtime socket call.
Right.
And if P4 DPDK gives us P4 runtime, then it seemed like the lowest hanging fruit would be just use the same approach. And then nothing changed. And most of the whole build ecosystem that we've created for Dash should work unmodified. That's the thought right now.
Okay, that's good. Thanks.
Yeah, and it's a working hypothesis.
Sure. Let's see how it how it materializes. Thank you.
So Andy's breaking the ice. If he gets something like working handcrafted, then I'll try to make a formal recipe for it so it's just repeatable and automated.
Sure. Thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate it.
It's our hobby.
We can then have a soft switch, a real soft switch with the software stack. At that time, the libsci can be included, which includes the TDI that you are asking about.
That would be.
I will warn that there might be. I don't know what's done with the BMV2 switch today in terms of this list and port list match kind, but there might be some adaptation or unique code for DPDK to handle that.
They're not implemented. We're using the vanilla, so it's actually if def out.
Okay. So in any case, we can talk more about details there if we get the rest of the basics working.
Awesome. Thanks.
We're also hoping that Shitanshu will be able to work on this together with Andy. Let's see.
Yeah, I forwarded Shitanshu a copy of the email thread that Chris and I have discussed, so we can catch up.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Did you guys have PRs you wanted to cover or anything like that? Let me grab the list here.
There were two PRs I'd like to get an update on. One was the ACL tag, and the other one is the bulk API, I believe.
This one here?
Yeah, that one there. Yeah. Just to get a timeline.
Yusuf, could you let people in while we're looking at this kind of stuff? If more people come? Okay, thank you. Awesome, thanks. Okay, so it looks like we had a review a couple weeks ago. Can we add some scale numbers for the ACL tags in the HLD? We need to. I know I saw a conversation on the tags recently. I will have to dig through, it's either my Teams or my documentation. Let me see if Prince is on the call because I know he was on it. Okay, so you're just looking for an update to this one?
Yeah, trying to figure out when that gets in, so, because clearly there's some rework inside to be done, in libsci to be done.
Okay. Okay. If we can get Prince or Gohan to join, we can talk to him on the call, and if not, then I'll follow up with him individually. And was there a second one?
Yeah, actually, we're on it.
I was? Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know the number of it though.
Tell him, what was it about?
It's the bulk API. So if you scroll down, it's kind of at the bottom of the page, I believe.
Side bulk API add remove implementation? Yeah. Okay. sorry, Control V. Okay, and then this one. Chris, can you remind me what's going on here? Oh, bulk API support inside Thrift RPC General.
We're just waiting for test case, I think. It's
From
well,
anyone in the community?
well, it should be part of this PR, so presumably it would be Marion, although if someone wanted to write a test case, they could do a PR to his branch. I mean, we've done that before where we kind of collaborate. Someone does a pull request and then within their dev branch, and then someone else says, well, here's a pull request to your dev branch, and you can, enhance your pull request. That's another way to do it. It's really a small, it should be a small task.
I can follow up there as well.
Yeah, I mean,
if they don't come onto the call.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of risk to just accepting this PR as is, but it behooves us to try to do test cases when we make changes.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks for the update.
Yep. Okay. And so for open Q&A, is there anything you guys wanted to talk about today? Other than this project we're working on here and the updates?
Kristina, in the main meetings on Wednesdays, I think maybe we can cover the inbound pipeline for the service tunnel private link. We only discussed outbound so far.
Okay. So you want this in the community call?
Community call.
Okay, and that would need Prince or Gohan to cover that.
Sure, and also I think Vijay and Sanjay.
And BJ, would you be willing to talk about that in the next community call?
Hey, yeah, I think we have to sync up with Prince on this. I think Prince had to get back on that.
Okay. So I can follow up with Prince too. Okay. So it looks like he's running late from a different call. So let me check. Okay. Yeah, he said I'm pulled into a live site discussion. Okay. So Gerald, Prince is in a live site. Guys, on the call, what that means is that we've got some incident going on there. He's on call and he has to participate in that. So I'll just tell him I'll cover items with him.
Yes, we're all familiar with the joys of escalations.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. Okay. Anything else, Gerald, or anyone on the call?
Not on my end.
No? Okay, cool. All right. Then, so Marian did say that he thought we could possibly cover this next week. He said BMV2 for Service Tunnel Private Link. And I know we don't have a meeting next week, but maybe I'll schedule a meeting for next week just as if we're going to go over this. Would that be okay with you guys?
Yep.
I know we switched to an every other week cadence. But would you be willing to do next week?
Sure.
I'm fine, yeah.
Okay, great.
Sure.
Great. All right. So Kristina to create maybe a 30-minute call. Okay, great. Awesome. Then it sounds like I have some work to do to get back with Prince since he couldn't join. And I don't know, is it Gohan waiting? No, it's Suresh. Okay. All right. Then that's all I have, guys, unless you have something you'd like to talk about. And countdown 3, 2, 1. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording. And I'll post it to the channel like normal.